The call came just after sunrise. When my phone rang, I almost ignored it, assuming it was another work reminder. But the name on the screen made my stomach tighten. Daniel. His voice was strange, flat, controlled, like he was reading lines he'd practiced. Evan. Lily didn't come home last night. I pushed myself upright in bed, still half asleep. What do you mean she didn't come home? She went out for a walk, he said. After we talked. That sentence alone felt wrong. My sister Lily wasn't the type to disappear. She was a mother of 3, the kind of woman who planned everything down to grocery lists and school schedules. A walk, I said. It's below freezing. What time? Around 10:15, Daniel replied. We argued about money. And the kids. She said she needed air. Took her phone and laptop. Left her purse. That's when fear settled in my chest. Lily never went anywhere without her purses, especially not with her kids asleep upstairs. 12-year-old Noah, 9-year-old Grace, and little Oliver, just 5. I'm coming over, I said. If she doesn't show up soon, call the police. They lived outside Pine Ridge, a quiet mountain town where winter swallowed everything in white. Snow blurred the roads as I drove, my hands tight on the steering wheel. Daniel opened the door when I arrived. He looked exhausted, but not panicked. She come back, he said casually. She's done this before. That didn't sit right either. The kids were already awake, eating cereal in silence. Noah looked up at me. Uncle Evan, where's Mom? I forced a smile and knelt beside him. She stepped out for something. Buddy, she'll be back. But inside, dread was growing fast. We searched everywhere Lily normally went. The dance studio where she taught empty. Her favorite cafe, no one had seen her. Friends' houses. Her phone rang straight to voicemail. Lily, I whispered into the phone. Call me back, please. By afternoon, friends joined the search. Mara, who owned the dance studio, hugged me tightly. She wouldn't leave her kids, she said quietly. Never. As the evening fell, volunteers walked along the trails near Clearwater Creek, calling her name. Snow kept falling, covering footprints, erasing hope. That night, back at the house, Daniel made sandwiches like it was any other day. Maybe she's with that guy, he muttered. What guy? I asked sharply. He shrugged. Some friend from the studio. I knew who he meant. Ryan. Lily had confided in me months earlier. Things between her and Daniel were bad. She'd met someone who made her feel seen again. But she told me she ended it said. She wanted to fix her marriage for the kids. The police got involved the next morning. Detective Harper asked questions calmly. When did you last see her? 10:15, Daniel repeated. Did you argue? Yes, but nothing serious. Harper turned to me. Any history of violence? I hesitated, then spoke the truth. Once, I said quietly. He grabbed her arm, threatened her. She filed for protection, then withdrew it. Daniel snapped back. That's a lie. We were working things out. Harper didn't react, but he didn't forget either. On the 3rd day, Mara called me, her voice shaking. Evan, I checked Lily's laptop, draft emails. To Ryan, one message wasn't sent. I still love you. I met Ryan at his office. He looked broken. We were close, he admitted. But I ended it. Told her I was staying with my wife. Was she upset? She cried, he said, but said she'd be okay. His wife, Hannah, stood nearby. I hated her, she said coldly. But I didn't hurt her. Police checked their alibis. Both claimed they were home together that night. Their stories matched. On the 4th day, a volunteer shouted from the creek. They found her. Lily's body was frozen in shallow water, bruised, barely clothed. I couldn't look for long. The medical examiner said she'd been struck, strangled, and left alive in the freezing water. The cold finished what the attacker started. Detective Harper pulled me aside. No footprints, he said. Looks like she was carried. Time blurred after that. The kids came to live with me. When can we go home? Oliver asked one night. Soon, I lied. At the memorial, Daniel cried loudly, then stopped suddenly, like flipping a switch. Mara confronted him. You know more than you're saying. He denied everything. Months passed. Then the arrest came. Women from Daniel's past came forward. Stories of choking, threats, violence. Lily had told a judge the same thing years ago. At trial, the affair was mentioned, but the focus stayed on Daniel. His delay, his lies, his history. I testified. She was afraid, I said, but she stayed for the kids. Daniel claimed innocence. The jury didn't believe him. Guilty, all charges. Life sentence. Now, I watch the kids play in the yard. They laugh again, slowly healing. But some nights, I still think about how close darkness can hide. You think you know people, until you don't. I never imagined that the little house we loved by the water would one day try to kill us. My husband Mark and I ran a small towing and recovery business in Bayhaven, Louisiana, right along the coast. 4 days before the hurricane made landfall, we were hauling stranded cars out of flooded streets, helping people escape while we still could. The storm Hurricane Elias was growing faster than anyone expected. By early Friday morning, the roads were already swallowed. The only bridge leading inland was gone. We tried to leave anyway. Mark checked the route one last time, then looked at me with a face I'd never forget. "Claire, we're not getting out." That's when reality hit. "We stay," he said. "We prep. We protect the animals." We had 2 dogs, a macaw, a cockatoo, and dozens of smaller birds kept in an outdoor aviary. The wind was already picking up, the air thick and heavy, like it was holding its breath. I ran outside and opened the smaller cages, praying instinct would take over. Most of the finches and cockatiels burst into the sky, vanishing into the gray clouds. But for lovebirds clung to the bars, frozen with fear. I cried as I backed away. There wasn't time. Our house sat high on wooden stilts, nearly 15 feet off the ground. At first, the water only brushed the sand beneath it. But by midday, waves were pushing hard, and the wind screamed past 40 miles an hour. Mark called news stations, emergency lines, anyone who might hear us. "The waves are slamming the house," he said into the phone. "If the Coast Guard can reach us, we need help now." No one came. By mid-afternoon, water rose past 5 feet and climbed higher. It slapped against the porch stairs, then the deck itself. Mark didn't hesitate. He grabbed a saw. "We're going up," he said, already cutting through the ceiling. "If the floor goes, the attic's our only chance." We climbed through the hole with the dogs and the 2 large birds. The attic wasn't really an attic, just a crawl space with exposed rafters. No floor, nothing but narrow beams. We straddled them, legs dangling into the darkness below. As night fell, the storm turned violent. The wind howled past 60 miles an hour. The house shook like something alive, something furious. Water surged beneath us, slamming into the walls. Mark squeezed my hand. "This is bad," he whispered. "Real bad." I nodded, forcing calm. "Let's pray." We whispered together, voices nearly drowned out by the storm. Then, around midnight, hell arrived. The house lifted. Not figuratively lit. It rose like a boat on a massive wave, then slammed back down onto the stilts with a deafening crash, again and again. Through the hole in the ceiling, we watched the ocean invade our home. Waves tore through rooms, ripping walls free and dragging them into the darkness. Wood cracked, glass exploded. Debris smashed from every direction. Mark leaned down, eyes wide. "The bathroom's gone," he said. "The porch too." I looked, despite myself. Furniture floated like toys, sucked out into the black water. Everything we owned was being erased. The birds we couldn't save were gone. Another surge lifted the house higher than before. It tilted. "We're going over," I cried. Mark pulled me close. "Hold on, just hold on." Something massive struck the underside, maybe a log, maybe part of another house. The stilts groaned, but held, barely. The darkness was absolute. No power, no lights. Just the roar of wind and water. I imagined other homes breaking apart, other people screaming. If they were, we couldn't hear them. Mark's voice cracked. "Claire, we might die." I squeezed his hand. "If we do, it's been a good life. I'll see you again." Still, we prayed, over and over, for hours. At one point, I thought about our daughter, who had passed years before. Her ashes were somewhere below us now, lost forever. I pushed the thought away. Survival first. Eventually, slowly, the lifting stopped. The water began to fall. When dawn finally broke, we were still alive. Mark looked down through the hole. "There are no walls left," he said quietly, "just stilts, and the roof." Our home was a skeleton. Mud, debris, broken lives everywhere. He cleared a path, found a ladder buried in wreckage, and set it up. We climbed down with the animals into a world that didn't look real. Any more cars flipped, houses flattened, everything coated in thick slime. We had no food, no clean water. Mark scavenged cans from the mud, bottles floating past. That day, we walked the ruined roads looking for help. At one point, Mark spotted a man digging through debris. "Hey!" Mark shouted. The man froze, then bolted. Mark had grabbed a gun from the attic. "Get out of here," he yelled. The chaos brought out the worst in some people. We flagged helicopters. One hovered briefly that night, a spotlight sweeping over us, then it left. "Why won't they take us?" I asked, exhausted. "Too many people," Mark said. "We're not the only ones." By Monday morning, weak and dehydrated, we heard rotors again. A helicopter hovered low. A man leaned out and shouted, "We're sending a boat." I collapsed in relief. The boat came. We climbed aboard with our dogs and birds. As we pulled away, I looked back at what remained of our life. That night in the attic was the most terrifying experience I'll ever know. The storm took everything. Our home, our business, our memories, but it didn't take us. Mark and I survived because we held on to the beams, to hope, and to each other.